Right, so the taxman has caught up with Conservative Party Chairman Nadhim Zahawi at last, has he? Can we expect jail then? If he was a benefit claimant overclaiming by a tenner, a custodial sentence for no doubt being a given, wouldn't it? Thatcher's government saw horse jockey Lester Piggott sentenced to 3 years in pokey for tax evasion back in the 80s. He served just one, and that was for dodging the inland revenue of some £3 million. So Howie's just settled his tax affairs apparently with HMRC, a bill apparently to the tune of some £3 million. I mean, at the very least, a scandal of this magnitude generally leads to the MP in question stepping down in disgrace, doesn't it? But this guy got promoted to chair of the Conservative Party. Let's not forget, though it might be very easily done, given how short the stint was, but Boris Johnson appointed this man as Chancellor of the Exchequer as well. He was in charge of the national purse at a time when his tax affairs remained unresolved. Where's your new sleaze Tsar in all of this then, Rishi? Or has he not sought your permission to investigate Zahawi yet? Or did you tell him already that he's not allowed to? That's the level of integrity in Sunak's Tory party now, you see. No investigations into dodginess unless he says so. Ultimately, it didn't take the sleaze guy getting involved, since we knew about an investigation into Zahawi's tax affairs had been going on since last year, being carried out by HMRC following an inquiry that had been conducted by the National Crime Agency in 2020. Now, if you're not aware of what the National Crime Agency does, they only deal with investigations into the most serious and organised crimes, the really big stuff: drug trafficking, money laundering, fraud, modern slavery, child exploitation and more. And not only did a sitting Tory MP and then junior business minister end up on their radar, but he became the subject of a full-on investigation, a big code-named one at that, Operation Catalufa, they called it. God knows where they got that name from. And it even involved their international corruption unit, plus the serious fraud office were looking at Zahawi at one point. The tax irregularities, let's call them, stemming from his shares in the polling company he part set up, YouGov, we've all heard of them, were held by Balshore Investments, a family trust he claims not to be a beneficiary of, which is based in Gibraltar. Oh, look, a tax haven. But is he contrite? Has he held his hands up to any guilt? Not a chance. I'm surprised he hasn't blamed Putin for interfering in his tax affairs yet. Nurses wanting a pay rise are helping Putin after all, according to Zahawi. How much is £3 million in unpaid tax helping him then, Nads? His get out of jail free card right now, excuse the pun, is that the claim has always been that Balshore Investments is owned by Zahawi's parents. He was not a beneficiary, and yet his YouGov shares are held there. Bit overwhelmingly generous and altruistic of you to just hand them over to mummy and daddy, isn't it, Nats? Not wanting a return from your own portfolio? Bit weird. The think tank Tax Policy Associates and their founder Dan Needle have been vociferous in following the story up since the NCA investigation became public knowledge, to the point Zahawi threatened to set his lawyers on them. But they say that if the shares were Zahawi's, and if he was a beneficiary of this Gibraltar-based family trust, he would have accrued a tax bill in the region of some £3.7 million. It's awfully similar to that HMRC figure you've settled with them with, isn't it? Zahawi has said previously that the shares were held in trust by his father because of his business know-how. He also conveniently doesn't live in the UK either. Yet you, Zahawi, helped set up one of the most successful UK polling companies going, and you just happen to have coughed up £3 million to HMRC now. The shares were sold around 2017 or 2018, so this issue is some years old now. Surely too long for such a clerical oversight, especially by two such successful businessmen such as yourselves. Dan Needle's opinion is that this weird tax arrangement was in place so that dividends and gains that would ordinarily have gone to Nadhim Zahawi were not taxed in the UK, that the obvious conclusion was to avoid paying tax here. A sitting MP, a government figure, a government we want to be clamping down on tax evasion and avoidance as it costs the rest of us more, appears to have been engaging in it himself, and scrutiny over that will continue. So Howie's claims he has always paid his taxes and everything is above board, but as Dan Needle has pointed out on Twitter, was that the case before he settled with HMRC?